Hello guys, and welcome to another Era of Chaos video. Guys, today we're talking about guild bosses, or in other words, how to be successful in this mode. I will start with my beginner account. Basically what you have to remember is that for guild bosses you need to have one pretty strong marksman and one pretty strong wood elf. Now if you don't have strong marksman or strong elf, you can always borrow one from the whales in the server, or in other words, use them as mercenaries. Another thing that you need to have is, of course, the Path of an Assassin. Currently, this is my... I cannot really identify it as a free-to-play account, but let's say it's a very low spender account. And in this account, I'm using the absolute best thing that I have, even though for this particular case, I would really enjoy if I had 2 sets of Path of Assassin's emblems. Unfortunately, I don't have that yet. I just have 1 set, so I'm using it on my marksman, who has also some weapon. But in general, yes, this is not really that difficult to get good marksman. It is free to play unit. Also, it is not really that difficult to get Gelu or Jelu to 4 stars, and also it is not that difficult to get the Wood Elf to 4 stars, another unit that can be easily developed as free to play. And you can see that I'm currently 3rd, and I'm doing pretty well, judging from the fact that I'm ranking with VIP 11, 12, and 13 players. Basically what I do is, currently you're seeing my setup. It's not really the perfect setup, but that's the best I have. One of the best units, by the way, one of the best debuffers in the game, the Reviataran or whatever. So I'm using this unit, you know, to debuff the boss. Apart from that, I'm kind of all set. There is nothing else I can do at this point. Currently you're seeing how I'm performing in my free-to-play account. After that, I'm going to show you how you can how I'm performing on my pay-to-win account. So those are 2 things, because on my pay-to-win account I have almost all the buffers maxed out, but again I'm using the fish. I'm borrowing the fish from another player. Now, in terms of having the correct mark spell, currently you're seeing on my Jelu, I don't have mark spell because I am going to get it next week. In my opinion, the best mark spell for guild bosses and in Dragon Invasion in general is the one and only Rush Tactics. Now, some of you may disagree with me, and that's fine, but I've been using Rush Tactics for ages and I'm pretty satisfied. Reason being, Rush Tactics increases the attack speed by a certain number for all characters, all units, and the effect is doubled on X9 units. And guess what? Your Master Archer and your Elves, they're all X9 units, and that's pretty cool. Now, if you're asking me which are the best debuffers free to play, I would probably be using the Champion Knight once I have his weapon, 3 stars I believe it was the effect with the penetration, and also I'll be using the fish once I develop it. Currently my fish sadly isn't developed, but I am working on it. And when I say the fish, I don't mean the Reviataran or whatever. I mean the Ice Element from Consult faction, another pretty free to play friendly unit that you can develop on your account without any problems. It is 100% free to play, very easy to develop, and very good as a debuffer in this particular stage. Not only, by the way, against guild bosses, but also in Dragon Invasion. As you know, Dragon Invasion is another very useful event. So basically this is it when it comes to my beginner account. So what we have to do now is we have to jump to my pay-to-win account. However, before we go to my pay-to-win account, there is one last thing about being successful in guild bosses mode and in Dragon Invasion. You have to remember that having marksman or Master Archer weapon to 4 stars is paramount. 6 stars isn't that important, but 4 stars is really good for both Dragon Invasion and guild bosses. And on my pay-to-win account, guys, the situation is kind of the same. The only difference is that, of course, I have much better emblems. So what I'm doing every single day before I go into battle is I am stripping the emblems from my Devil, from my Titan, and I'm giving the best emblems I have to my Marksman, who happens to have maxed out weapon. And in general, currently he is my best damage dealer against the guild bosses and in Dragon Invasion. As you can see, I have +7 Path of an Assassin, which is extremely useful, but also I'm using some developed Wall of Knowledge, even though it doesn't really help me that much, but it's still something. In terms of the elves, I'm using my very best emblems apart from the orange set of Path of an Assassin, and basically this is what I do every single morning. I'm doing that before I go to work. It usually takes me like 20 or 30 minutes to complete all my dailies from my main account, and then I have another 20 or 30 minutes to complete all my dailies from my beginner account while I'm traveling to work in the subway. This is how I organize my time. Now, those two emblems on the Mantis, not really that required. He's a good debuffer, but there won't be a huge difference whether you give him those two emblems on top or not. Now, in terms of the damage, I'm usually ranked first on my server because I happen to have the best damage dealers and the best debuffers. The only unit which I borrow is a Revia Taran, or the fish, and the reason why I do that is simple, because I have him, for her or it, at I don't know, I believe it is like 4 stars or 5 stars, and the weapon is just fusion 0, while there's a guy on the server who has this unit much more developed, so I prefer to use this unit like this. As you can currently see, I am first on the ranking. Basically, what I did also in this particular server is to give my marksman as a mercenary, so everybody who can use my marksman is welcome to do that in our guild, and doing pretty good. Now, in terms of my setup, I have the Naga with Darkness and Light emblems, so that she can deal damage, and also she can decrease the damage reduction. I have the Nightmare, one of the best debuffers in the game. I have the Mantis, another very good debuffer. I have the Ghost Dragon, another great debuffer, and I have the Paladin, one of the best buffers in the game. When it comes to your setup, the guild bosses are absolutely the same, like Dragon Invasion. You have actually two damage dealers, the Marksman and the Elf, and you have all other characters or units that can buff or debuff. Basically, if you want to make a difference, the biggest difference you can make by using Nightmare or Revia Taran or whatever, they are pretty great. I know that not many people have Naga with 6-star weapon, but since I do, I'm using her as well. She's amazing. If you don't have the Naga 6-star weapon, you can use Judicator. She's a pretty good buffer. Also, you can use other debuffers. I mean, there are a lot of debuffers in the game. Oh, the fish is pretty good. The fish from Conflux, of course, the water elemental or the ice elemental. And I recently actually removed her because I had my Mantis 6-star, so I decided that the Mantis will do better, and he really does better. I'm going to probably make another video on guild bosses and Dragon Invasion once I develop further my beginner account, and then I will let you know on my progress. For now, this is going to be all from me for today. See you next time. Take care and stay safe.
Perfect.